Members of council, can you please come to the council chambers? Members, please come to the council chambers. What is this one here? Members of council, please come to the council chambers. Members of council, please come into the council chambers. Okay. Before we go to the mailboxes, we'll do quick releases. All right? Councillor Cole, what do I look like? Someone to get you water? What am I? Okay, quick releases. Can we clear the screen and we can put names up for quick releases, please? Okay, if anybody has quick, Councillor Fletcher, you said you had quick, do you want to put your name up for quick releases? You can't put your name on? Okay, if we can have staff put your name on. We'll start with Deputy Mayor Malik. Go ahead.
CC 43.26, 19 to 37 Queens Quay East. I have a amendment.
Okay, we'll wait for the staff to put it. Does the staff have your amendment?
I sent it earlier today.
Okay, so we'll put it up. Okay, Deputy Mayor Malik is referring to the city solicitor. It's on the screen, the amendment. Has everyone seen it? Okay, on favor? Carried.
Thank you.
Councillor Myers.
Thank you, Speaker. MM 43.58. Are the amendments ready?
It's not ready.
Okay, and then the other one is MM 43.47, the pollinator garden. Is the new language ready? I gave it to them this morning. Not ready? Okay, that's fine.
Okay, but Councillor Myers, you held down CC 4323. What about that one?
The staff are working on that one, and I can consider CC 43.23 and MM 43.114 at the same time, if it's easier.
Okay, let's try to get those amendments done so we can clear. Councillor Fletcher.
Thank you, Speaker. The clerks have written that motion for me for TE 34.106 and amended the recommendation. So I'll move that amendment.
Okay, we'll wait till
Which
the
is
clerk puts it on the screen.
Metrolinx Ontario line long-term temporary road closures, temporary delegation of authority, and update on Liberty New.
Okay, let's just, okay.
There it is there.
We do have it on the screen.
Thank you.
So Councillor Fletcher is
Moving that.
moving the amendment for T 34106.
Thank you.
All in favor? Opposed, if any. Carried. Item is amended. All in favor?
Thank
Carried.
you. Now I'm going to do something very exciting today. I'm going to release CC 43.8 ward-based maintenance team pilot response to council direction, and Councillor Peruzza has a referral motion he's going to move.
Which item was that?
CC 43.8 ward-based maintenance team pilot response to council direction. And Councillor Peruzza will move his referral.
Okay, so let's put the motion on the screen to refer it. Okay, so Councillor Peruzza is moving the referral.
Yes.
Okay, moved by Councillor Peruzza. Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. On the item, all in favor? Carried. Oh, hold on. Councillor, yes, Councillor Fletcher? Yes?
EC 30.8, which is an amendment, and then moving the supplemental, not an amendment, I'm just moving that we let the film industry know that Old City Hall is a great filming location for them, and then I'll move the supplemental report that staff brought forward on July 28th. EC 30.8, the Old City Hall improving the usability of Old City Hall as a filming location. There's a motion, and then there's the motion. Tell the world, pardon? Only family movies? I thought you were going to be starring in that, Councillor.
Put it on the screen so we can vote on it.
This one came to committee, it got referred here. Staff have a supplemental. This is just to make them aware. And then the supplemental is the staff report coming up after this. Sure. It's not a quick release if you have a question, but unless it's a fast question. It's a fast question, Speaker. We'll decide how fast it is when he
Okay,
asks.
on the motion by,
He has the fast question on the motion. Let's see how fast it is.
Councillor Matlow, you have a,
It's going quick. I just want to understand, did I see correctly that Creatio was struck?
Because they look at the long term, not the leasing. They don't, CREM does the leasing, so there's,
Okay, but this doesn't conflict with...
doesn't conflict with the longer term. No, it's the immediate. See how fast that was?
okay,
Very fast.
on the item by Councillor Fletcher. Okay, let's put both motions on the screen. The first one by Councillor Fletcher, 1A, on favor, opposed if any, carried. No, hold on. 1B by Councillor Fletcher, on favor, opposed if any, carried. Yes, that was both. Okay. Councillor Moyes, quick release.
So, Madam Speaker, I need to reopen MM 43.83, and staff has the amendment.
Motion to reopen, on favor, carried. And we'll put the amendment on the screen.
This is the dollar amount.
Okay, the amendment's on the screen. On favor, opposed if any, carried. Item is amended, on favor, carried. Councillor Cheng. Pardon?
And Ys are ready. I have, yes, okay. So NY 34.16, there's an amendment, and then moving staff recommendations along with my amendments.
Okay, can you put it on the screen? Okay. On the item,
Sorry, is this all the attachment? Because there was I feel like there's something missing here.
okay, let's hold it down so we can get clarification.
It's a draft 2. I'm sorry. Okay, let's hold this and keep going. Sorry about that. NY 34.27. There's
Yeah, I know, I'm
amendments to
trying
that.
to figure out what she's doing. Okay, what is it, Councillor Cheng?
No, I'm asking if the motions are ready for NY 34.27.
Okay, what happened to 16? Oh,
I'm
she's
standing
standing
it
it
down.
down. So what's the other one? 27.
Yeah.
Do we have the motions for 27?
Yes.
Okay, let's put it on the screen. NY 3427. On favor? Okay. There's two motions, 1A and 1B. On 1A, on favor, carried. On 1B, it's on the screen, on favor, carried.
And then moving staff recommendation, is that necessary? With these motions plus staff, because we moved it without rec, so staff recommendations. Oh, they were part of my motion? Okay, then the next one, moving staff recommendation. The
Which one? Which one?
NY 34.
Oh, on 28?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so you're moving staff recommendation.
yeah.
It's here without recommendation.
Yep.
Okay, Councillor Cheng is moving the staff recommendation. On favor, carried.
And then, let's keep going. CC 43.24. I have a motion.
Is this 3036 Hendon Avenue?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, you have a motion?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, let's put the motion on the screen. Okay, there it is on the screen. Has everybody read the motion? Yeah? Okay. On the motion, on favor, opposed if any, carried. Item as amended, on favor, carried.
And then MM 43.74. I have an amendment.
Okay, on 74, you have two motions. 1A. And 1B. On 1A,
It's the fan club. They're so excited
on
about
one,
this.
okay, hold on. 1A, on favor, carried. 1B, on favor, carried. Item is amended, on favor, carried.
Dynamite. Thank you, guys.
Okay, just one sec. Councillor Cole, you held down CC 4325, 245, 251 Marley. Are you ready to release that?
What's the number?
CC 4325, Marley Avenue.
Yes, I'd just like to record a vote.
No, I have to move the vote.
Oh, yeah, you got these complimentary or whatever it is.
I gotta move the supplement.
Supplement.
Okay, it's not fast. Is it 13 or 25 that? Okay. We're at number 25, Marley Avenue. Yeah, okay, so to 25 Marley Avenue, Councillor Perks.
Yes, I'd like to move the supplementary report.
Okay, so on 4325, Councillor Perks is moving the supplementary report. On favor?
You want it recorded, Mike?
Recorded?
No.
On favor? Carried. And Councillor Cole, you held down CC 4313, 1410, 1416, Eglinton Avenue West.
Staff has prepared a motion.
What staff?
Planning staff. Handy staff.
Well, we don't, the clerk doesn't have it. It's not ready.
Okay, hold it.
Okay. Councillor Fletcher, you,
Oh, I just thought because we have all those new ones, speaker 121 on, that unless we can hold some, but staff that are waiting on those, if we went through them, then they could leave if they need to.
okay, we have three to add.
Oh, we're
God help
adding?
me, God
Okay.
help me here.
She said,
Okay, let's just add these three and then we'll go through the. No, they were received before 6:30. Yes. Okay, give me the names. Come on. Okay. Okay, these motion. Yes, I'm just going to say that, Councillor Fletcher. Yeah. Okay, these three that we're introducing was brought into the clerks before 6:30. And no, they hit the deadline, so that's it. Okay? So, let's introduce these three. Councillor Cheng.
Yes, it is. If you came to Yonge Street, you would know how urgent it is. Yes, because they're not replanting the planters, and right now it's all weeds. All of Yonge Street is deplorable, so they're working on it. Yeah. Thank you.
On favor? Carried.
This is going to help all of us.
Councillor Fletcher.
They have planners? They took all
you have planters? Ainsley would like a couple of planters.
They took all of ours.
We have some broken ones. You're sending that? This is just to have access to the minutes of the parking authority should we wish to have it, because we took all the councillors off the board. Thank you.
On favor? Carried. Councillor Pasternak.
Well, this is extremely important. We have a mural that's half done at Wilson Station, and they need money to finish it, and this is section 37. So, to art lovers, it's extremely urgent.
On favor? Carried. Yeah. And can you do me? $21. MM 43-121. Okay, so we've already added this. Okay, so on MM 43-21, on favor, it's on the screen. Carried. MM 43-122, section 37 money. Councillor Bravo, on favor, carried. MM 43-123, local appeal hearing, on favor, carried. MM 43-124, by Councillor Thompson. On favor, carried. MM 43-125 by Councillor Fletcher, loading zone. On favor, carried. MM 43-126, Section 37 money. On favor, carried. MM 43-127, on favor, carried. MM 43-128. Hold? Okay. Yeah, Councillor Holiday is holding MM 43-128. MM 43-129. On favor, carried. MM 43-130. On favor, carried. MM 43-131, Section 37. On favor, carried. MM 43-132. Well, this is the one you just handed it in, and you want to. Councillor Candeval is holding it. MM 43-133. On favor, carried. MM 43-134. On favor, carried. So we have three more that we just introduced, so that'll be a total of 137. What? Go back to the mailboxes. I think Pasternak had a question on this one. Councillor Pasternak? Go ahead.
There we go. Thank you very much, Speaker. When it comes to locates, will that be the responsibility of the federal government before they dig, or will that onus be on us?
Through the chair, Canada Post will come to transportation and take out a permit, and we'll have to do all the required locates before they actually do any excavation, or especially when they're putting in the concrete pad.
Okay, so the responsibility will be theirs. So I thought I heard that Canada Post will clean up litter around the boxes, but the report specifically says they will not. Could you just clarify that?
Through the chair, they will clear everything around the mailboxes. When they do make deliveries there, they'll monitor, they'll remove any discarded items that people tend to drop sometimes around these mailboxes, and they'll do everything else. We in transportation will, with our inspection staff, will monitor these locations and see if there's any problems, and we'll relate it or escalate it to Canada Post.
Because the common fear here is that people will open up their mailbox, see the various flyers for Walmart and Burger King and Canadian Tire, and just heave them. Who's going to clean up that mess?
Through the chair, if it's possible, we will clear that area, but we will request Canada Post to monitor those locations and escalate the cleanup around those boxes. I kind of live in Mississauga. I'm exposed to this sort of stuff. There is a phone number that people can call. There's a website as well, just to let them know there's a problem in that area for them to deal with that.
So that was my next question. Customer service intake. They will have a toll-free number where someone will, somewhere in the country, they will respond to that, and there will be crews to follow up on those concerns?
Through the chair, that is correct.
Okay. Now, some of these will be, it's in the public right-of-way, so I assume there could be a roadway. Will we have to make any traffic or parking changes for each of these boxes? No park. Well, let's say there's a no stopping, which is pretty tricky if you're trying to pick up your mail. Will we have to make amendments to any kind of street parking restrictions or stopping restrictions in front of these mailboxes?
Through the chair, as they cite these locations, they will take that into consideration and avoid where there's parking and place them in areas where parking is not allowed so that it doesn't obstruct others.
Now, the super mailboxes that I know also have the opportunity to mail letters. Will these all have that option?
Through the chair, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Holiday.
Anyone else?
Thank you. I think it's quick. Is there any experience in dense urban centers with these mailboxes about different types of locations? Do we have any, or is it mostly suburban and rural?
Through the chair, through my own experience, it's in suburban, rural areas.
Right. There's a little footnote on
the
on the guidelines attachment that talks about community mailboxes on private property. Is there potential to see these things be installed in acceptable types of public property, private property, like places with high public access, like a strip plaza, like a municipal building, something like that? Is there any thought to going down that path?
Through the chair, that is a possibility.
What can we do as a council to help steer these things, not to the most simple location, which is to plunk it on the side of a road somewhere, and into something that makes more sense, like a place where people gather frequently, because they do anyways, like a strip plaza or a place with a supermarket in it, where there's lots of parking, lots of space. Is there something we can do to encourage that path?
Through the chair, we can explore that with Canada Post and recommend that if at all possible.
Do you need any instruction from us, or do you feel like there's a breadth of freedom that you have to find the best solution with what you've got in front of us?
We could take direction from council so that we can explore it further with Canada Post.
Okay, thank you.
Chris Santee, you held the item down to speak.
Yes, Speaker, thank you. And as you can see, many of my colleagues have many questions about how this whole system is going to work in a system that's getting currently home delivery. So Canada Post has a $10 million a day problem right now. They're losing $10 million a day. The Etobicoke North is going to be sort of the pilot project that's going to sort of experiment on how the installation feds are coming, and Canada Post is dropping hundreds of mailboxes everywhere. So that was, I talk about being blindsided, that was quite a shocker. My office has since then, still to this day, been extremely busy fielding calls, fielding all types of calls with a lot of good questions as to how this is going to, turn out. And a lot of the questions that were asked are the kind of questions we've been asking today. On April 22nd, after we got that notice, I put a letter out to Canada Post, and I put a letter out, or a motion that was asking all the questions, again, solutions to all the questions that we were asking today as well, and the kind of questions that people were asking when they come into my office. Particularly seniors. We've been getting a lot of seniors calling and asking, you know, do we have options to opt out? We heard that there are options to opt out, but their concern is not so much that they could opt out, is that what is the timing? Will they get accepted? What's the turnaround time? How complicated is it to fill out these forms? Well, we already know that anything you do with the federal government is not a simple 1, 2, 3. Very complicated to navigate through. So, you know, and then there's, of course, people with disabilities. And then there's, of course, the issue with our very hard and long winters. We ask those questions as well. And we have commitments that, yes, they're going to be responsible to clean everything up. My experience has been for those communities that do have mailboxes, a lot of the excess mail or the flyers or the those type of articles that are put in the mailbox, they just get thrown out. And these community mailbox locations are never, ever really completely clean. So does that give us the opportunity to maybe enforce it? So if they drop 350 mailboxes in Etobicoke North, maybe the following week, are we going to be issuing 350 order to comply? And can we issue orders to comply to Canada Post and insist that they clean it up and give them 7 days to do it or 14 days? If they don't do it, we go in and do it and then we bill them. So there's a lot of unanswered questions here. We really don't know how this is going to come together in a way that will be not impactful in a very negative way to residents in Etobicoke North. So, Speaker, there isn't anything here that we're moving. This is receipt only. I could just say very clearly here publicly that my constituents can rest assured that I'll be watching this very, very closely, that my eyes are on Canada Post, and that we're going to make sure that that transition of the installation of mailboxes is done in a professional, responsible way, and I'll be watching them very closely. Thank you, Speaker.
Councillor Crescenti. Councillor Carroll.
Just briefly, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Councillor Crescenti is on the right track. We want to stay on the track of we will be watching, we will be enforcing. We have bylaws about litter and waste. We will be watching, we will be enforcing. We heard from staff exactly what we have to do in our community. I would caution offering to do any more. Right now we're talking about them having to be on the public realm. If it's our initiative to say, no, we'd like you to negotiate to be on private property and be with this person and that person, or this business or that business, who then takes the leaseholder and managerial role over that? I think we want to stay where we are. We have bylaws to enforce litter. We have a phone in our offices to answer questions. But in early discussions with the federal government, the first time we went around with this in 2015, 2016, when they first started to discuss, here's what we're doing now in the rest of the GTA. Perhaps you'd like to join us. As soon as we started into creative discussions, we started to hear things from our local MPs such as, why don't you tell us what you would like? Maybe you would like to manage it. Why don't you be in charge of this? And that is something that they're not prepared to pay for. But abdicate their responsibility and have us managing the municipal and land use, please, because there are land use pieces here. There are neighborhoods where there aren't the proper boulevards to put these on. But we want to leave them having to be in the driver's seat because that leaves them having to be accountable. On pain of death, we must keep them accountable for their postal service. Or very quickly, through scope creep, as often happens at the municipal level, it becomes our postal service by virtue of the fact that we're maintaining the boxes and where they go and the litter and so on and so forth. We need to keep them accountable all the way through this process. Fortunately, Nothing happens until after 2027. We heard that tonight. We have a long way to go before we'll see the first one coming in. We have some in brand new subdivisions, but those that are being installed in our longstanding, our neighborhoods of 30 and 40 and 50 years, that's a long way off. And I just say, don't step into the breach and become the Postal Service, because we actually don't see anybody offering us the funds to do such a thing. Thank you.
Councillor Myers.
Thank you, Speaker. I'm rising on behalf of my residents who have expressed a lot of concerns over this. Scarborough North is also home to the Albert Jackson Processing Facility, which is one of the largest processing facilities for Canada Post in the GTA. We have a lot of Canada Post employees who live in the riding, and they are obviously very worried about their jobs. I've also heard a lot of concerns from seniors, both as a local councillor and concerns as chair of the Toronto Accessibility Advisory Committee in terms of what this would mean for people's ability to receive their mail. There's just a lot of uncertainty, and I agree with Councillor Carroll's assessment that we should be very, very cautious about taking on any additional responsibilities for the implementation of this program. I think right now there's a lot of unknowns and everything sounds very good on paper. However, it's about the implementation that I think people are very worried about, particularly seniors who are worried about how they're going to get their mail, what if it's slippery, what if it's not plowed. And, you know, sometimes this can contain time-sensitive documents that are quite important that, you know, they don't use internet, and so, you know, they have to receive these documents through the mail. So there's a lot of concern both from a joblessness perspective and just from a quality of life perspective in Ward 23. And I just want to echo those concerns, and I want to thank staff for working with Canada Post as much as possible to steer this in the right direction. Thank you very much.
Councillor Holiday.
So I'll just make a couple of comments. That's the easiest thing to do. The proposal by Canada Post has caused quite a bit of stress for a lot of people. There's everyone that just is accustomed to receiving mail to their door and likes that. But I'm thinking a little bit from a municipal perspective and some of the issues that were raised by some of my colleagues about locating something on the road right-of-way. We've had plenty of experiences with utility companies. And what comes from that, including litter and stopped cars, strange parking scenarios. So my preference is that they look to other places for this first, as opposed to the right-of-way, which would be the last opportunity or the last place that they would go. I think it would make more sense if I went to the grocery store once a week and that's where I picked up my mail. That might make things just a little bit easier rather than having to see these community mailboxes. And by that, by no means is an endorsement of this change. It's just practically thinking forward that if Canada Post moves forward with this, maybe there are more suitable locations that are more convenient for me and more convenient for the people that will inevitably get stuck beside living next to one of these mailboxes. So hopefully there can be some creative thinking going forward. And as I wish that this would work out in a better way, because obviously we're all quite concerned about it. Thank you.
On the item, on favor, there was no motions passed on this, right? Okay. Carried. Councillor Cole, you want to reopen CC 4325 Marley Avenue because you want to have a recorded vote on that. So a motion to reopen, carried. And so we'll just put it on the screen and we'll have a recorded vote. Yeah, on Councillor Perk's motion. Yeah. Okay, recorded vote.
Councillor Crisanti, Councillor Thompson, and Councillor Morley, please.
Councillor Perruzza, please. Councillor Perruzza. The motion is adopted. The vote is 20-3.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Myers, are you ready for CC 4323?
I'm waiting for the clerks, but I am ready for MM 43.58 and MM 43.47. Those are ready.
MM, what is it?
MM 43.58, the amendments are ready. And I've worked on it's Councillor Sax's motion, and she's fine with it.
Okay, so we'll put the amendment on the screen, MM 4358. Okay, there it is on the screen. On favor, carried. Item is amended. On favor, carried.
And then the next one is MM 43.47, the pollinator garden.
On MM 4347?
Yes.
You have an amendment on that one?
Yes, we're replacing the language.
Okay, it's on the screen. On favor, carried. Item is amended. On favor, carried.
And then
which one? Okay, Councillor Myers, CC 4323 is ready. Yeah.
it's ready. If it's ready, I can do it if I can combine it with MM 43.114. Because there was an amendment to that, so it's relating to the same development, Malvern Town Center. Okay.
Yeah, one at a time. Okay, on CC 4323, Councillor Myers.
And those were pre-circulated?
Has the motion on the screen. On favor, carried. Item is amended. On favor, carried. And MM 43-114, Councillor Myers.
I'd like to speak on that one, though.
Pardon?
I'd like to speak on that one, though.
So it's not a quick item?
Okay, so that's fine. I'll hold that one.
All right. All right, so our next item is Councillor Perks, CC 4330. I'm just going to the top of the agenda right now.
Sure, I'm happy to do that. I just also want to let you know that the mayor's told me we're ready to do CC 43.5, the delegated authority now.
Okay, so let's do the 4330 first. That's in your name.
Right, I have a...
Oh, unless you want to do 43.5 first.
Entirely up to you.
It doesn't matter. I mean, let's do 4330. That's what I said.
Yeah,
so let's.
I believe I have a motion on this.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm moving to delete the recommendations in the report and replace it with refuse the proposal to construct a structure on the land subject to an encroachment agreement adjacent to 2 Whitney Avenue, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, so we have Councillor Perks's motion on the screen. We'll have a recorded vote.
Madam Speaker.
Oh.
Yes?
I would have liked to ask questions. I think my name was on the list for that.
Okay, so we'll hold the item down then.
Yeah, thank you.
Questions? Okay. Yeah. Yes. Let's just. Okay, so now we'll go to CC 43.5. Councillor Perks?
Yes, I have motions on this.
This one is CC 43.5. Yeah. Okay, Councillor Perks.
Thank you. I have two motions on this. First, that City Council delegate authority to the city manager or delegate who must be a deputy city manager or the chief financial officer and treasurer to provide city funding in amount satisfactory to the chief financial officer and treasurer to not-for-profit and Indigenous delivery partners, provided that sufficient budgets and funds are available. And B, City Council authorize the city clerk to take any action, any required action under the Funeral, Burial, and Cremation Services Act of 2002 that the city clerk determines is necessary and urgent as part of any obligation or requirement under the Act. I've been waiting 20 years to move something on this piece of legislation.
Okay. So we'll put the first motion on the screen. There it is, 1A. On favor, carried. 1B. On favor, carried. Item is amended. On favor, carried. Thank you. Now I understand now we're ready for Councillor Cheng for NY 3416. We're on the item.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
So I have a motion.
Okay, this is 765 Steels, correct?
That's right.
Okay, so if you can introduce your motion.
It's just an amendment. Everyone can look at attachment 1, that is to the motion, and you can read on screen what the attachment is. So I want to just alert my fellow councillors to the difficulty in our city with getting daycares. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because originally this development had a daycare as a Section 37 agreement. But because of changing planning policy, the developer has said that they would go through a reapplication process that would save them up to $9 million value of a daycare. And because of the other things that they're putting on the table, including an over-dedication of parkland and improvements on the adjacent development, these are things we're not willing to risk losing in order to try to fight for the daycare. We tried to do many things to get to a daycare, and it's very unfortunate because Willowdale is daycare deficient. We are actually red on the Children's Services map in terms of availability of daycare, and we're actually short 496 spots according to a recent study that was done for the North York Centre Secondary Plan. So the deficit of daycare is there, and the change in planning policy means that all the Section 37 negotiated daycares are at risk. So this is a domino that is falling today, and there will be dominoes that will come, that will be following, I am sure of it, because I have lost other daycares where they didn't bother to negotiate and they did go through a reapplication process. There are currently 19 daycares in the City of Toronto attached to Section 37 agreements. And so all of my fellow councillors, I just alert you to look at what is on the horizon in your ward, and we should fight to try to keep whatever we can. And I acknowledge that probably it will be larger projects, multi-tower projects where we could save them. But children's services, daycares are not just a frivolous item. They are critical infrastructure for livability, for affordability, and if we have no funding tools as we continue to add housing, which is really what we're fighting for right now, all the levels of government are saying housing, 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 but I never hear about infrastructure, infrastructure, infrastructure. We can't build housing without a plan of how we're going to grow the many amenities that will make our city livable. Otherwise, we're on a trajectory of a decrease in quality of life. And that's already happening. When a ward is red in terms of childcare, it means that sometimes women are making difficult decisions. If they can't find affordable daycare, can't easily find nearby daycare, they have to make employment choices sometimes in order to be able to take care of their children. So I am grateful that, you know, we did land on a negotiation, that, you know, Starlight did try to get this daycare within what they could afford to put on the table, but the city just does no money in their in our capital plan to be able to match that amount. So we were not able to proceed with a daycare, and I grieve that loss for that community and for all the young families that will struggle because of it. So just again reminding you all, there are 19 daycares slated in our city attached to Section 37, and I believe that they are all at risk because of the changing planning policies that are on the table because of the provincial government. So we should be fighting for the infrastructure investment that we need to build a livable city. We can't just focus on housing, housing, housing. We have to sing the infrastructure, infrastructure, infrastructure song alongside to build a livable city for the density that we will be welcoming. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, on the motion by Councillor Chang, on favor, carried. Our next item is the mayor held it down, CC 43.9, Development Charges Reduction Program. Councillor Perks? Councillor Perks?
Yes.
Yeah. I believe that you're going to be moving the item?
Yes.
CC 43.9.
5 seconds. Yes, yes, I'll move the item.
On favor, carried. Councillor Cole, we're at your item next, Eglinton Avenue.
For the motion, is it ready?
It's not ready. Okay, so we'll go back to CC 4330 to Whitney Avenue. And I believe, excuse me, I believe that Councillor Bradford had questions. Councillor Bradford, do you have questions?
I do, yes. Thanks, Madam Speaker.
Okay, if we can bring the staff forward. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry. Do you get feedback on your end or just on my end?
No, we don't have feedback. Everything's fine.
Okay. So my questions are for Heritage Planning staff. Just let me know when they're ready.
Yeah, they're ready.
Maybe if you could just hold my time.
Yeah.
Okay. So to staff, through you, Madam Speaker, in October of 2025, Heritage Planning staff recommended refusing a heritage permit for a wall at this property, and council voted to adopt that recommendation. But now, Heritage Planning staff are recommending approving the new proposal. So I'm just wondering what has changed between the old proposal and the new proposal.
Thank you. Through the chair, the primary change is the lowering of a significant portion of masonry wall, which was the subject of the concern of the original application. There's a corner condition where Glen Road hits Whitney, and the masonry wall runs generally 1.2 meters around the perimeter of the property, but at the corner the masonry rose to 2.2 meters, which was a very substantial wall closing off the corner. So the owner has now applied to lower that to 1.2 meters. So the masonry wall will be a sort of continuous 1.2 around the perimeter of the property. And above we'll install some metal grills, which they were seeking some security protection. So that should provide the transparency that we were looking for and the protection that the owner was looking for.
Okay, so if I understand, it's your opinion that this is substantially different than the proposal that was originally submitted. And I think what I heard there is the wall at the corner is about half the height of the original proposal, like a meter less, and in line with the rest of the wall height.
That's correct, and that was the primary point of contention, and now it's lowered to a point where staff are recommending the approval of that.
Okay, so you couldn't support the old proposal, but you can support this proposal.
That's correct.
Okay, we've had this file in front of council several times over the last few years. Council had previously signed off on the encroachment permit, but the major issue was that no heritage permit had been granted. Is that correct?
It's correct that no heritage permit had been granted, yes, and that was the subject of concern for an encroachment agreement.
So if council now grants the heritage permit, and I'm hearing from you today, heritage is on board, that would be the end of this.
It would be from a heritage permit perspective, yes. And that's
the encroachment agreement.
I think I would have to let my colleagues in transportation services speak to that aspect of it.
Well, let me just before Mary, you hand it over to them. There's also ongoing litigation tied to this file. We're not going to get into that because we're not going in camera, but did that factor into how heritage planning staff evaluated the proposal, or do you look at it completely separate from any sort of litigation?
What? Point of order. Yes, Councillor Perks.
I'm sorry, staff cannot comment in public on what may or may not be related to the litigation and the...
Well, that would be an in-camera item, yes.
Yeah, so
yes.
Staff cannot answer the question that Councillor Bradford asked.
Okay.
Okay, we can move on.
So that...
I guess the point I'm making is heritage planning. Mary, your recommendation of the heritage permit is based on the application that's in front of you.
Entirely, yes.
Yeah, and you feel this fits within the North Rosedale Heritage Conservation District guidelines?
Yes, we do.
Okay, transportation staff, any concerns around transportation safety related to the proposal? Is this going to block any sight lines with the new height?
Through the chair, no. That we've investigated it ourselves and found that the sight lines are fine. If vehicles stop at the actual corner of Whitney and Glen, they'll stop. They'll edge a little bit into the intersection. They'll be able to see cars along Glen and make a safe turn.
Okay, and last question, then the staff recommendations that are in front of us here on this report would authorize the encroachment agreement. Is that correct?
Through the chair, that's correct.
Okay, those are all my questions. Thanks, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. All right, so, Councillor Holiday has questions.
I do. Thank you. My first question actually is to the clerk. I'm looking at the materials that accompany the recommendations. This is a city council section item of the agenda. So this is a report directly from staff to us. There's recommendations from the chief planner that I presume, actually I don't presume, there's a report July 13th from the chief planner. There's also a July 21st report from the senior manager heritage planning. And there's also a transmittal July 23rd from the Toronto Preservation Board, which recommends something different. And I wondered if the clerk could explain the difference between these reports and their relationship to the recommendations that are before us, and how council is supposed to weigh the different pieces of advice. Thank you, Councillor.
Madam Speaker, the main motion, the main recommendations that are before you are contained in the report dated July 13th. The things near the bottom, the transmittal from the Preservation Board and the report, the July 21st report from the senior manager is actually their report to the Preservation Board. So
Okay.
that package of material from the Preservation Board is before you as supplementary. Those motions or recommendations have not been moved with the adoption of the order paper. The recommendations before you at the moment are the ones in the main report dated July 13th.
So why doesn't the recommendations before council reflect the transmittal from the Toronto Preservation Board if they were the last group to look at it?
Because the Preservation Board's recommendations are supplementary.
Okay. To staff, as I don't know, we have somebody here from the Toronto Preservation Board. Can someone elaborate why the Toronto Preservation Board changed to deny the heritage permit?
Through the chair, I can speak to that, although as staff I don't represent the Toronto Preservation Board.
Fair enough.
But I can explain that the Preservation Board is there as the community voice.
Okay.
They are the Municipal Heritage Committee. They consider a number of factors that may or may not be the same as the factors that the professional heritage staff consider. They provide a vital place for communities to express their concerns, and their advice is required under the Ontario Heritage Act, so it comes as a separate package, as the clerk explained.
So just so I've got it, your report went to the Preservation Board. They deliberated on this, and they provided us different advice as a supplemental to this.
That's correct.
All right, and yet the staff advice is what's before us, but we have to see the supplemental. And I'll just confirm, because I missed it from Councillor Bradford to transportation, is everything satisfactory from a technical standpoint with respect to safety, sight lines, et cetera, that you would normally consider with respect to encroachments?
To the chair, that is correct.
Okay, so the two authorities with jurisdiction on this is Heritage Preservation Services through the Chief Planner and Transportation Services, and then we have Preservation Board to also consider. Do I have that right? Are there any other jurisdictions or subcomponents of the city that weigh in on this? Okay, my last question is that in the materials, somebody raised the concern over a crest or a symbol or a logo. I didn't quite understand. Is there now a signage component to this proposal in front of us?
To the chair, I'm not, I wouldn't know what the answer is to that particular question, but the crest, it represents it's their company crest.
Their company crest.
Yes.
So is a company crest allowed to be on a wall on I think the public right-of-way? Has that been dealt with by the right department?
Through the chair, I can give you background to that.
Okay.
On the wall is to be placed a family crest that is for the owner. The crest is also used in some ways with a business. And my understanding is, although again, I'm not representing it as a staff member, but I have the information, my understanding is it is not triggering any additional sign requirements.
Thank you. Councillor Perks.
When the structure in question was built, did it have all the necessary permits?
Through the chair, it did not.
So it was built without necessary permits, all the necessary permits?
That is correct.
Okay. Is part of the structure on public land?
Yes, it is.
Okay, those are the two things I most needed to know. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so there was a motion earlier that Councillor Perks put up on the screen. Oh, yeah, I thought he did. Oh, okay. So Councillor Perks, do you want to move your motion and speak to it?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Speaker, I move that City Council refuse the proposal to construct a structure on the land subject to an encroachment agreement adjacent to 2 Whitney Avenue, a property within the North Rosedale Heritage Conservation District in accordance with Section 42 of the Ontario Heritage Act as outlined in the applicant's submission dated June 23, 2026 and received by Heritage Planning on July 2nd. Speaker, there's some very important principles at stake here. Do you believe a private individual should be able to construct a structure without all the necessary permits partially on public land, and in addition, put a chill on the councillor representing the area with a lawsuit, and that we should say, well, because the heritage permit is okay now, we'll just turn a blind eye? My answer to that would be no. This is a very serious matter. I have seen too many instances of people constructing something illegally, knowing it's illegal, getting a stop work order, ignoring it, and then trying to fix it after the fact. It is absolutely unacceptable, and we have to take a stand on issues like this and make it clear to members of the public, if you get a stop work order, you can't just send lawyers guns and money at it. You actually stop work. Thank you.
Councillor Bradford to speak.
Okay, thanks, Madam Speaker. I'm going to be supporting the staff recommendations on this file, and I have a motion to move those recommendations from the City Solicitor's July 16th supplemental report. There's nothing more than that, just what staff are recommending. You know, I can appreciate that not everybody has followed this file over the years, but it's come back to council, in my view, far too many times. Heritage Planning has spent a lot of time and effort on this, and I want to acknowledge the work of Mary and her team. They're satisfied with this latest proposal that has come forward. And, you know, as you heard, there were some pretty substantive changes to get them there. I think that's a positive thing. Let's be clear about this. A portion of this wall is on public land. That requires an encroachment agreement. And Community Council approved that encroachment agreement in May of 2024. So, you know, we haven't all been following this file, but there was a Community Council approval on an encroachment agreement in May of 2024. It's not as it's being spun in the chamber there. They did not start building the wall until that permit was received. Yes, they ran into an issue with the heritage permit. This is a process that has been undertaken to rectify that. As you heard from Mary and heritage staff, that has been rectified. And so adopting the city staff's recommendation here, I think, is the best course of action to put this to bed. Transportation staff are satisfied. Heritage planning is satisfied. There was an original encroachment agreement back in May of 2024. They didn't start building until that permit was received. They missed the heritage piece, and they've worked hard to come back to rectify it. So, you know, it's not an ideological battle. It's not anything more elaborate than as I've just outlined. And if you read the supplemental from staff, I think you will see that. So I would just ask, like, you know, do the right thing, support the staff recs, vote against Councillor Burke's motion, and support the city solicitor's recommendations in my motion here. Thank you.
Councillor Bradford.
Yeah, I can see how you'd confuse Councillor Bradford and me, Speaker.
Same haircut.
I think that there are important questions of principle here, and whether you call it ideology or not, doing the wrong thing when you have all the resources in the world to find out how to do them correctly, to me is problematic. To assume or presume an entitlement over what is public land, not go through the appropriate processes, and then use legal tools and power, privilege, resources, money cannot hyper entitle you in front of this council. Furthermore, the local councillor is a representative of that community. That councillor should not be subjected to the chill of the use of a lawsuit to silence her. She's not in this chamber and she can't speak to what community conversations she's had. The principal thing would have been to do it right from the beginning, and I think that if we don't support Councillor Perks and we support Councillor Bradford, we are going down a very slippery slope where power and privilege gets you access that other people cannot have. This is, to me, this is a slam dunk. The staff have come forward with a way to regularize something, but I think we need to look at context here and what kind of precedent we're setting.
That's imperative.
On the motion. Yeah. Yes, recorded vote.
Councillor Candeville, please. Councillor Mantis.
Councillor Cheng, please. The motion carries. The vote is 20-4.
What? So, Councillor Bradford's motion is redundant. I said that. Councillor Perks?
Yes.
Can you move a procedure motion?
I can move anything you want me to move, Speaker. I want to direct that the confidential attachment 1 to the report July 16, 2026 from the City Solicitor is to remain confidential as it is about litigation or potential litigation that affects the City of Toronto and contains advice or communications that are subject to solicitor-client privilege. This is the one where basically we're being instructed, don't put anything in the Toronto Star, people.
Recorded vote.
Councillor Myers, please. Councillor Perizza.
Councillor Pasternak, please.
The motion carries. The vote is unanimous, 23 in favor.
Okay. Our next item is MM 43.3. Councillor Sachs held it down. Heritage designation for Sneaky D's. So does anybody just want to move it? Mayor Chow would like to move it. On favor? Carried. The next item is MM 4326, Section 37, for Region Park. Councillor Moyes, you going to move that?
I want to speak to it.
Okay, go ahead. We're at the item.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is the accumulation of 3.5 years of hard work with TCHC and the city staff. And I could not be more proud to see this significant and much-needed investment here before us today. In the last election, I heard it loud and clear from Regent Park and Moss Park residents. They see the opportunities that the 519 Community Center afforded to as LGBTQ community, and one that for their communities. A community center that is managed by the community for the community. I committed to deliver on that promise, and today we are delivering. I also want to express my deep appreciation to Mayor Chow for direction to expand AOCs across the city for the first time ever made this possible. And her support in bringing this motion forward today speaks to her commitment to communities like Regent Park and Moss Park. Over the next few years, city staff will be consulting and working alongside the local community to develop operating framework, board composition, and design of the new AOC. It is a long process ahead that will be community-centered, and my office will be there every step of the way. I'd like to conclude by thanking Daniel Bondi, Catherine Bailey, Will Mendez, Peter Zimmerman, Brian Sherwood, and Yusuf, aka the Mayor of Regent Park, for all their hard work on this file. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. On the item, on favor, carried. Councillor Sachs? Yeah, sorry, I wasn't sure if you're coming back, so the mayor moved your item, amendment 43.3. Did you want us to reopen it, and did you? Okay, Mayor Chow's moving to reopen it, so Councillor Sachs, did you want to speak on it?
Yes, please.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, just briefly. One of the, we all know that many members of the public are just in despair about the planning process. And one of the things that people are up in arms about has been our inability to protect cultural places, live music venues, which we keep losing. The Sneaky D's, we've had this enormous upsurge of public support, and we almost lost it in May. It would have passed in May if I hadn't insisted on hearing directly from George, and then during that recess, the activists got organized. Now that the application was withdrawn, we have a brief window to try to use the Heritage Act to protect it. It will be hard, but it may be possible. And we have the entire Safe Sneaky D's organization working right now to pull together history and stories and cultural links and celebrities and bands who were started there to try to put together the very best case we can for preservation of Sneaky D's. And I have the commitment of Mary McDonald and her team, which I appreciate, to really carefully review that dossier when they get it. They don't have the resources to create it themselves, but they will review it. If we are successful in using this tool to protect a venue like this, it will set an important precedent for Toronto and, in fact, as far as I know, all over Canada, a tool that might actually be able to be used for one of the places that make Toronto what it is. It's worth a try. It's not guaranteed to success, but it's worth a try. And if you have a story or a connection to something important that happened to Sneaky D's, please add it.
There was one.
Thank you.
On the item, on favor, carried. Councillor Pasternak, MM 4338. It's your item.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is a revised wording from the previous version, so I'll just move the motion on the screen.
What do we have?
It was technically, there were some technical amendments by staff, so it's simply an updated, revised version of the earlier motion.
Here it is here by Councillor Pasternak on the amendment. On favor, carried. Item is amended. On favor, carried. MM 4373, Councillor Matlow. You held the item down.
Yeah, I'd like to speak to it for a moment, Madam Speaker. So the Ontario Science Centre is a building that has been...
It is. He's speaking on his
I have a motion.
I don't know what, I don't
So,
know what this one is.
The Ontario, so I've moved the motion. The Ontario Science Centre is a place that has been beloved by Ontarians since 1969. And it's a place that sparked our children's curiosity, love of science, love of nature, and it's been a place that has brought 2 generations of us back to the love of education and learning. It's a place that my own daughter loved. And a couple of years ago, the Ford government very abruptly closed it with a story about it having a roof that was imminently going to collapse. Well, we have had historic snowfalls here in Toronto, and that roof has proven itself to have more integrity than the story that the Ford government told. So since then, I've been working with a group of dedicated activists, people who have stood up and worked really hard to initially save the Science Centre, and when it was very clear that the Ford government would not agree to reopen it, then we adapted our activism and our work together toward reimagining what it can be to bring it back to life to serve the public again, along with its local community. And I want to acknowledge some of those people who I'm referring to. I'm very proud to have been working with Save the Ontario Science Centre, including its leaders, Jason Ash, Floyd Ruskin, Jennifer Alexander, and Jeff Lumby, who are sitting here behind me. I know it's late and the applause was in spirit. These are the kind of citizens who just take a stand and work really hard for the places that we love, and I just want to acknowledge them, and I love them for it. I also want to acknowledge Mariama Tashima Architects, who have been our partners through the process of coming up with our report that we've moved forward. And also the local councillor, John Burnside, who's been a steadfast supporter of his community and a friend and a partner. The work that we've done has led to our report, Reimagining the Future of the Former Ontario Science Centre, which I hope each of you read. It's attached to the item. And this was done through consultation with both the Greater Toronto community, but also directly with the local residents, including residents in Flemington Park and Thorncliffe Park in the Don Mills area in North York. And one of the greatest things about this place has always been that it's not downtown. We've got a lot of wonderful places to go downtown along our waterfront. But we also need to have these wonderful cultural institutions in other parts of our city that are more accessible to more people within Toronto and our region. And that's why it's so important that we reimagine this Moriyama masterpiece. We bring it back to life, and once again to serve the public again. So the motion allows us to move forward with not just reimagining, but also directly engaging the government and other stakeholders in doing that work. And I look forward to continuing that path.
We do have a question for you. Councillor Carroll.
Thanks, Madam Speaker. I have to ask about the motion because it's quite different than what is on the agenda, which is to receive the report, making it a matter of public record and putting it in our possession. But this actually asked us to open discussions about the future of the Ontario Science Centre at 770 Don Mills Road. And I'm confused because I've seen motions that talk about putting housing there. We also have moved motions within this very agenda that talk about a cultural community centre there. And I think I saw something else about health and dental. I can't even remember. I've seen the address 770 Don Mills on multiple items. So does this contradict a decision already taken by council?
No, it complements anything that we have said or done. What this does is it engages the province of Ontario, the government of Canada, all the stakeholders that you see here in a meaningful conversation about how to bring the buildings that are now sitting effectively just empty and derelict back to life. It doesn't preclude anything. In fact, nothing's been done. One of the biggest challenges we face right now is that while it will be incredibly expensive to bring it back to life, it's also very expensive to do anything other than that, even to demolish it. We don't want to just see it essentially fall apart due to neglect. So we've been working very closely with the city manager's office, Creatio, and other parts of our city. We've been meeting very regularly on this project, and this is about engaging the province and others in hopefully a very productive conversation about opening those doors again. And by the way, it won't be just one thing. You know, it most likely will be a combination of ideas that will come together to make it realistic.
So I do have one other question, though. I'm wondering if, while it might be many things, what I'm looking at right now is a website called Our Future Home at Ontario Place. That is the page 1 of the Ontario Science Centre website at the moment. And there's a picture of a fully fleshed out design drawing here. And this asks us now to get our city staff to pull together a group that includes the province of Ontario and to have them get together to discuss the future of the Science Centre at 770 Don Mills. And as much as I loved it being there, lo those many years, I'm now looking at a promise of the future home of Ontario Science Centre at Ontario Place that claims to be ready to go, if at all possible, by the end of 2029.
That was your last question.
We recognize reality. We're all being very pragmatic about that. That's why we're talking about reimagining the site rather than trying to keep it exactly as it was. We recognize...
So there's reality and there's imagining. Thank you.
Well, if you read the report...
Those are my questions.
If you read the report, you'll understand exactly what I'm describing.
Thank you. Councillor Chernis Lynn.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank the movers of this, and particularly the mover of this motion. I think that site has stood empty long enough, and I think the limbo that everybody has been in needs a push to get going. And I do think there is a place for imagination, and I actually don't see it as contradictory to the motions that were moved earlier. It's a really large site, and my understanding with the one about the school with Creatio was that that would be at the very north end of the site in that furthest parking lot. This is a very, very large property with a historic, groundbreaking building that people for generations have ventured into, loved, adored, and want to see preserved into the future and reimagined in potentially a new capacity that could offer us a really exciting vision for the future for decades and decades to come. That may include schools, it may include opportunities for young people, for the Thorncliffe and Flemington communities. My ward is adjacent to this. My ward runs through the valley right behind the Science Centre. You go through there and you look up at it and you think, what is it going to be next? And I do think that maybe the provincial government needs a bit of an off-ramp, and I'm someone who believes in collaboration. So I really do think what our residents who have worked so hard on and the vision that they've brought to the table, this should be championed by our council as a way forward.
Thank you. We still have a few items left on the agenda here. Yeah. Okay, are there any other speakers on this? Yes, we're speaking now. Councillor Carroll.
Madam Speaker, I rise as a person who grew up in Don Mills, and I represent people in North York. And I may get ridden out of town on a rail, but I'm looking at a website of where you can go to visit Ontario Centre in Science Centre in its alternate location. I'm looking at the plans for a building that's supposed to be completed in 2029. And then I say to myself, what is going to happen on 770 Don Mills? And I would submit that if we are going to get on with some of the wonderful things that my colleague, Councillor Chernos-Lynn, just described, schools, children's facilities, health facilities, arts facilities, housing, right beside the crosstown. If we're going to commence that exciting discussion and have any vibrancy in it at all, with great trepidation, I say it out loud, the conversation that is about the Science Centre leaving its new home and coming back, that ship done sailed. And so I will be supporting staff's recommendation to have this lovely report as a matter of public record and receive it, but that I'm not going to be supporting Councillor Matlow's motion, because I think our staff, if they're going to be at a table, should be at a table that is about the future of 770 Don Mills for all of those things that we have moved motions about and described previously today.
Thank you. Okay, we're ready to vote on Councillor Chang. Councillor Chang to speak.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm probably the last Science Centre membership holder on council, because I had one the year they closed. And I'm still hurting about it, but I love that building. And what I believe is that North York still needs a destination. We need a place that people will come and visit, that where children can learn and be inspired. It doesn't have to be a science center. It can be another destination. I love the Rochester Play Museum. We need a big vision, and I hope that these conversations can lead us to a big vision. It was a visionary building when it was built back in the day, and I think it's still a visionary building based on its architecture. I don't think that building is suitable for housing because it's on a ravine and you wouldn't be able to put housing there, but maybe you could have adjacent housing on the parking lot.
Okay.
There's many great ideas, and I support further collaboration, further conversation. Let's dream big and make sure that North York gets another destination.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's vote, please. We have to get this agenda done, please, guys. Okay. On the motion, on favor? On favor? On Matlow's motion? On favor? Carry. Let's get it over with. Okay. All right, that's it, right? On that one? Okay, come on, guys. We still have some more. MM 4375, Councillor Candeval. What is it that you want to do with your motion?
I'll speak. I've got an amendment.
You held it down.
I've got an amendment. I'm going to speak to it.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, excellent. Madam Speaker, colleagues, before I begin my remarks, I'd like to move an amendment that's asking and calling on the provincial government to establish a clear province-wide regulatory framework for AI data centers. The amendment asks the province to develop that framework by the end of 2026, directly address environmental impacts,
if you keep
address noise from operations and backup systems, assess electricity demand and infrastructure capacity, meaningfully engage with the affected communities, the City of Toronto, relevant stakeholders, and all other municipalities. Speaker, colleagues, I'm moving MM 4375 concerning the proposed expansion of the data center at 3650 Danforth Avenue. The data center is an American company owned by an American asset manager proposing to expand an existing data center into a campus with 56 megawatts of capacity. This is a major piece of industrial and digital infrastructure over 19 acres beside established neighborhoods to the east, south, and west, the neighborhoods of Birchcliff and Oak Ridge. A proposal of this size raises serious questions. How much electricity will it consume? Can the grid support it? How much water will be required for cooling? The impact on local water pressure. What are the environmental impacts? What noise will be produced by cooling equipment and diesel backup generators? Who will pay for any required infrastructure upgrades? How many permanent jobs will we actually be created for Canadians? What benefits will the neighborhood Scarborough, the city, receive? And what protections are needed when critical computing infrastructure and potentially sensitive data are controlled by a foreign-owned company? Foreign ownership, don't get me wrong, does not automatically mean that a project is inappropriate. But it does mean we should ask questions, serious questions about Canadian data sovereignty, control of critical digital infrastructure, where the benefits of this investment will flow, and whether Canadian public interests are being protected. Residents in my ward raised these concerns with our office in the city. We acted immediately. We contacted city staff. We organized a public meeting. We invited the company so residents could ask questions directly and seek answers. Unfortunately, they chose not to attend. More than 100 concerned residents came to the meeting, asked strong questions, and came with an open mind. And at this point, more than 4,800 people have signed the petition launched by my office calling for greater scrutiny, clear answers, and real safeguards. I'd also like to recognize the important work of two grassroots groups, including Ward 20 residents, Common Horizon Toronto and Climate Fast Action. They have generated thousands of submissions and petition signatures and are calling for a moratorium in AI data centers. My motion advances a response, but their advocacy demonstrates the depth and seriousness of public concern. The current process is not adequate for infrastructure of this scale. As we know, this authority has been delegated to city staff. This application is proceeding through delegated site plan approval. That means City Council does not vote on the application, there's no required public meeting, and the process did not generate any notification to the local community or councillor. Provincial law may limit council's formal authority, but it does not limit our responsibility to fight for our communities. What does this motion do? Within Toronto's existing authority, this motion takes practical action. And I want to thank all members of Toronto City staff who worked on this and from all the divisions for their hard work in crafting this and advising that any other approach would face strong challenges. It asks the city to notify the local community and councillor when large-scale data center applications are being received, align the review of this application with Toronto's emerging citywide work on data centers, independently peer review the noise study. This motion does not prejudge every technical answer. It requires the answers to be independently assessed, clearly explained, and made public. That is due responsible diligence. Scarborough Southwest residents have done their part. They've raised concerns, attended the meeting, asked questions, organized.
You've got
almost
You've got some questions, Councillor.
Thousands
Perhaps
more have
they'll.
participated through grassroots campaign.
Your time
Now,
is up.
Can I just get 10 seconds?
No, you've got two questions. We're late at night. I'm sure they'll ask you. You can answer say that. Councillor Carroll, 3 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, you do.
Some would say I don't.
Okay, there you go.
Just a question about the date in your additional motion, because as you know, I reviewed your earlier motion and quite in favor. But in your additional motion asking the province, I'm wondering if you want to consider the date, because what you're asking us to request the province to establish a province-wide framework to address key concerns, all of the above, by the end of 2026, with meaningful engagement with community stakeholders and the City of Toronto.
Right.
And by putting it into that time frame, you are eliminating yourself and all of your colleagues from having any input into any of that.
Okay. Is the concern the time?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're about
Fair enough.
on
Got the
Sunday,
question.
You're in blackout on Sunday. You can't
Yeah.
take part in an engagement process.
Fair enough.
So I wonder if you want to make that at least the first quarter of 27, so that, first of all, 2 points. It makes it look a little more like a legitimate request to the province, but it also allows them to seek our input.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Okay.
I concur.
Thank you.
So
Can
I'm
make
happy.
that change, Councillor, in your motion.
Clerks, how do we do that?
They'll help you, yeah. Go ahead. Is that your last question, Councillor Carroll?
Yep.
To Councillor
Thank you.
Candeval? Councillor Candeval is going to make one change in his motion. There was another councillor who wanted to ask questions, no? Perhaps while Councillor Bravo is speaking, you can work with the clerks, Councillor Candeval, to have that change, okay, please? Thank you. Come on up. Councillor Bravo.
Who was?
Well,
Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I have a motion.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I advance circulated the motion, but it has essentially two elements. The first is to request executive directors of development review and city planning, in addition to the chief planner, to ensure that all municipal approvals related to major digital infrastructure and artificial intelligence data centers be aligned to the work that was underway in MM 39.47, which was moved by Councillor Chernos-Lynn and also seconded by Councillor Sachs, and to advise that the local council of any applications for major digital infrastructure and AI data centers upon receipt, and then to make sure, in addition, that we're aligning the timing of the current review of the site plan application, again, for the data center expansion at 3650 Danforth Avenue, with the city's ongoing work, and to add to the staff report to the Planning and Housing Committee in the first half of 2027, as directed in the member motion 39.47, considerations of some of these questions. So this is work that I've been doing in my office, and we know that there's great community interest, but I'm going to summarize the questions here. What's existing in the official plan policy, zoning bylaw permissions, and legal authorities for municipalities with respect to this question? Provide a summary of existing regulations that could be applied, and significantly the impact of this kind of major digital infrastructure and AI data centers on things like energy use and power grid pressures. What about electricity rates and operation, water usage and cost, the effect on the natural water bodies and wastewater systems and watersheds, noise impacts in the neighboring communities, heat impacts in the neighboring communities, other environmental impacts that are not limited to tree canopy, biodiversity, climate, and community health. How many jobs are the corporations that own the data centers required to create on site to fulfill the employment use? How many current AI data center applications in the Toronto area are from American corporations, as the local councillor said in this case? What protections exist to ensure that Canadians' data stored at these facilities will not be subject to U.S. invocation of the Cloud Act or other violations of data privacy for Canadians? This is something we've been concerned about and voted on earlier, for example, with surveillance pricing. And what are current opportunities, policies for public engagement and participation in decision-making? And finally, this is a request of the Ontario Minister of the Environment, of Energy and Mines around the development of their framework for this kind of infrastructure. When will the Protect Ontario by Securing Affordable Energy for Generations Act 2025, when will that kick in with respect to the denial of access to the electricity grid, requiring community benefits and protecting the job creation potential of employment lands? Yeah, there's a lot, Councillor, because this is a big piece of work. There's huge concern. In my ward alone, I've got about 600 petition signatures, and I think everyone's received them. This is a live question in Canada, in Hamilton, in Mississauga. In the United States, where states embraced this and said, please install these centers here, Virginia, Georgia, and Oklahoma are now reconsidering their programs. There are 100 communities in the U.S. that are in the process of looking at ways to put a pause, and 300 state data center bills were filed in the beginning of this year alone. There's significant concerns, and I just want to end by saying the idea that economy and environment are separate is a fallacy. Right now, we're contending with the impact of climate change, and industry needs water. Industry needs electricity. We want industry and employment lands to ensure that we're actually generating jobs, and that's what's going to sustain the economy in this city. So, that's it.
Thank you. Are there any questions of Councillor Bravo? No? Thank you very much. Councillor Moyes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I pre-circulated my motion as well. I do have a motion. And it's really talks about requesting the Chief Planner, Executive Director to come to a comprehensive review of city's planning policies, zoning regulations, and so forth. It talks about site plan standards, infrastructure, servicing, environmental, economic, public health, climate, national security, and so forth. It also talks about a comprehensive public engagement, which is really important. And I'm also requesting that this motion be forwarded to AMO and FCM.
Councillor Chernes Lynn.
Thank you. I'm really glad to see all these overall motions, many of which build on what we started earlier this year. My concern is just as staff reach out to the government, I just hope that it's clear that we are not sort of asking to not have authority to make decisions on some of these or set some of the parameters or not have a say. I think it's really important that we still have a say, or at least we are consulted on what they develop. I am particularly worried that this provincial government may not care about the environmental impacts of the data centers. They may not care about the noise in a city. They may not care about all of the things that we are so worried about, and we have seen over and over again where they've taken over planning matters and we no longer have a say. So I just want to make sure that as this communication goes out and city staff are writing letters to the government on this, that spirit is still there. I mean, if the government is making this framework, it's essential that we're consulted and that the things that are important to Torontonians, particularly on this issue, are brought into the ultimate regulations. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Councillor Carroll, quick.
Very quickly, Madam Speaker, I just wanted to thank the councillors, because there are lots of questions for me. But in working together, I think we're in a good place here. They have done a lot of work with staff, and that is important, and I'll tell you why. The work that staff are doing when they go out to discuss this with the industry is how do we take this growing concern and the actual environmental evidence that is there now of the damage that can be done if you don't get this right, and it is there. How do we take that and make Toronto a leader? Toronto does have an ability to be a leader. We are well on the way. We have some facilities that are not the large scale, as you see in the motion contemplated here, that are not the large scale types of data centers. And where they are, there is great work being done in our community to make them closed loop, to mitigate the types of harm that we hear the activists quite rightly making noise about. That's a pun, I suppose. I shouldn't have said making noise, because these things can be quite noisy. But in fact, we could be a leader. This city could be a leader. And how do you provide what needs to be provided in the way of data center infrastructure to a city of 3 million with the needs that it will have as it approaches 6 million for the high demand in tech, the demands on power, the demand on energy systems? How do you do a closed loop? And how do you look back and be able to say we found a way to do it in a way that was green and compliant, and people are able to live with it? And so these motions are very important. I have great faith in staff. I want to allay Councillor Chernes Lynn's, because what we have seen is tech listening to economic development, listening to hydro, listening to systems. In their conversations with each other, I have great faith in the advocacy they're going to do the other orders of government.
Let's vote. Put the motions on the screen. Okay, come on, let's rush. Let's get this council meeting over with. I don't think anybody's watching us on TV at home. So don't worry, you don't need to do a lot of long speeches. Nobody's watching us. Okay, motion by Councillor Bravo, on favor, carried. Councillor Candeval, on favor, carried. Councillor Bravo, on favor, carried. We'll do it at the end, recorded. Is that it? Motion 3, on favor, carried. Item is amended, recorded vote.
Councillor Chang, please. Deputy Mayor Malik. Councillor Fletcher, please. And Councillor Perruzza. Councillor Fletcher. Councillor Perruzza, how do you vote? The item is amended, is adopted unanimously, 25 in favor.
Okay, and members of council, we just have a few more items left over, but please, no long speeches, please. But yes, now Councillor Chang submitted a member's motion yesterday. I had questions to staff on it because I wasn't sure of the motion. And so we sent it to staff to comment, and unfortunately, it never came back to introduce. So it was an error that was made. So if I can ask Councillor Chang to move the motion.
I get to move the last member motion of this term. So
okay.
So this is basically about a road that really needs to get built. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
On favor, carried. So we'll circulate it. Councillor Cole, you finally have the motion on your item CC 4313 Eglinton Avenue.
I finally have the motion. It only took 3 days, but anyways, in regards to 1410, 1416 Eglinton Avenue West, those of you who know the...
Just introduce it, that's all.
I'm introducing it. There it is there.
Okay.
City Council delete recommendations 1 and 2. In the report from the City Solicitor, City Council adopt the confidential instructions. City Council authorize public release of confidential. City Council amend Section 3. Anyways, what I'm asking really in short is to vote against this preposterous development, which is one of 20 towers, never mind AI. I've got 20 towers going on a small street with daycares. I don't have one daycare space, no public housing, no affordable housing, no sewers, no hydro. Please vote against this. Thank you.
Okay, on the motion by Councillor Cole. Recorded vote.
Councillor Bravo, please. Councillor Ainsley.
Councillor Cole, please, and Councillor Crisanti. Councillor Thompson, please.
Councillor Ainsley, thank you. The motion is adopted. The vote is 23-3.
Our next one is MM 43-114. Councillor Myers, you held it down. Go ahead. You want to just move an amendment?
Yes, and I just want to speak very briefly on it.
Oh, briefly, please.
Do staff have the amendment?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so just to delete some language, I just want to start by thanking a few people who helped us get here. First, from the legal staff, Daniel Al-Madani and Amanda Hill. From the planning staff, Samuel Barron and Christian Ventresca. From the community group, My Malvern, there was Kumsa Baker, Darnell, and Hassan, and as well as 25 residents who consistently showed up at meetings to advocate for the community. And I also want to show off this lovely artwork from My Malvern from the community meeting, and it just really goes to show the heart and spirit of Malvern is really represented here, and people take a lot of pride in their community. The Malvern Mall redevelopment is a big development for the community. That is the only commercial space in all of Malvern, essentially. So this is going to have huge ramifications for the community for decades. This is a place people got their first jobs. This is a place where the kids go to school for their lunches. This is a place where the Malvern Mall walkers do their exercises every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So this place has a very special heart in the place of the community. So whatever development happens, it has to be done carefully and in consultation with the community. Unfortunately, a lot of the visions and the ideas the community has are hamstrung by changes in provincial law. But through processes like My Malvern and the Community Local Association Group, people have becoming more and more familiar with planning law and how they can effectively advocate through their community through the tools that are available. And with the help of the staff, there has been some significant wins, actually some firsts that haven't been achieved on any other planning file. So I do want to give my sincere thanks to the staff. I also want to thank my colleague, Councillor Shan, who's also been part of this journey, has been at the meetings as well, also advocating for the community. This property is right on the border of our wards, so it's going to have huge implications for both of us and both of our communities. And I just want to say thank you to the community for putting your trust in the process, for showing up at the meetings, and for really making sure your voice was heard, and for organizing to affect some of these changes and some of these wins. These are real wins that were achieved because the community was organized and really made sure that their voices were going to be heard in this process. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Shan, you wanted to speak on this?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to rise to thank Councillor Myers for all the work he's done over the last 4 years in championing the community voice in this matter. I got back on council only a few months ago, so I've been consistently on the file. Malvern Mall, Malvern Town Centre is the heart of that community, and it is unfortunate that we've been consistently losing businesses in that area, and now this whole community hub, if you may, is under threat.
Okay,
but having said that, I just 30 seconds, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it's 30 seconds, and it's a community that has been warning us to voice their concerns. So, if you may, I'll just take 2 minutes max. Just wanted to thank all the community members who have consistently shown up. Many of them have had much difficulty in making their way to these meetings with pressures in their life, but have consistently shown up to these meetings to voice their concerns and have their community respected, their wishes respected. So I'm glad that we were able to push for some wins, but I'm sure that we will continue this fight to make sure that all of the possibilities of what can be achieved for Malvern community would be pushed through this development. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
On the amendment by Councillor Myers, on favor, carried. Item is amended, on favor, carried. MM 43-115, partnership with Jay's Care Foundation. Councillor Perks, you held it down. Councillor Perks, you held the item down. MM 43-115, the Care Foundation.
Yes. Members, I encourage you to vote for what's here, but I wanted to give you an update on an important related matter. Some of you may have seen that the Jays Care Foundation has been making grants to improve facilities and parks around the city. And they were saying they would only do that if a big bank could have their corporate logo on the facility. And as you may know, we have policy saying you can't just advertise corporate logos in our parks. And that is a policy that took us years to develop. What the world was like before we had that policy. Certain parks in the city, many of them waterfront parks, would be taken over by private events every good weekend. And what the deal was is they would bring in a charitable partner who might make $5,000 off it, but the big private companies would get their logos all over our park, get DJs, be advertising, effectively pushing the public out of our own parks. So many of us on this council fought for years to say, no, you cannot privatize and corporatize public spaces this way. And we developed a policy saying you can't just put a logo on in exchange for some money. I was asked by a community organization to make a deal like that in Hyde Park. And I said, no, we have public policy on that. I don't move motions against city policies that this whole council has adopted. So I sent them to staff and I said, tell staff, ask staff what the rules are. The good news is, I heard this morning that the Jays Cares Foundation has learned their lesson and will be making the donation in Hyde Park without the big bank logo. So the lesson here is hold your ground, keep public lands in public hands, and you will win.
On the item, okay, recorded vote. Recorded vote. Councillor Cole, you wanted to speak on this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it's your motion.
I just briefly, I understand the concern about these logos, but I just want to have the opportunity. This comes up because, as I said the other day, everything is going downtown. And it's about time we had some investment in our parks north of Eglinton. God forbid we should, Willowdale, for it's got nothing. So it's about time we had, it's about time we had don't get me started with parks, fountains that work. God, I'd like to get a drinking water fountain in one of our parks north of Eglinton. I've been trying to get this patches and potholes fixed on the...
Councillor Cole, can you speak on what was speaking?
Yeah, I'm speaking about this important investment in our parks by the Jays. I want them to come north of Eglinton and not just downtown. So please vote in favor of this motion.
On the item, on favor, recorded vote.
Councillor Matlow and Councillor Thompson, please. The item carries unanimously, 24 in favor.
Next item is MM 43-128. Councillor Holliday, you held it down. It's for Section 37 for ferry rides for kids and seniors.
Yes. Question the mover, please.
Okay.
So I just wanted to make sure I understood. There is a question of the mover. Thank you. I just want to understand who is being recognized in the tens of thousands of Torontonians who made their voices heard. What does in recognition mean, and who are those tens of thousands of Torontonians?
Mayor Chow?
No, the mover.
She moved it.
Who moved it?
There's no amendment.
Deputy Mayor Osman
Oh,
Malik.
sorry.
Sorry, I've lost 25,
Deputy
27
Mayor
seconds.
Malik. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
We're at 32 seconds, Speaker.
Thank you for the question. Tens of thousands of Torontonians made their voices heard in their protection of our waterfront, in standing with council and saying that decisions about the future of our waterfront need to be made with our voices and our priorities in view. The federal government made it very clear that they were listening, and they have said no to expansion. So the tens of thousands of Torontonians are people from every community right across the city who raised their voices. Yesterday we heard a number of them, residents associations, former mayors, folks who have been leaders when it comes to business and economic development, all the way to local community groups, schools, young people, folks who have built this city. And this is an opportunity to make sure that, when we raise our voices and we protect our waterfront, that we are also able to continue to strengthen our connections to those places that we are fighting for.
Those are the 87,000 people that completed the survey from the federal government.
That's just one metric of who raised their voices.
Thank you.
I know that our communities also had letters that from groups that represent hundreds of residents, local businesses. My office myself got thousands of communication, conversations, advocacy groups.
And so the win is the federal government withdrawing support, celebrating the win. That's in the title.
The win is protecting our waterfront in the way that City Council made it its position, and yes, absolutely.
Okay. And so the mechanism here is that there is a move to apply Section 37 money to the ferry dock project, and then that will in turn push money out to go into operating to pay for the fare concession. That's what's in front of us.
You've described what has been laid out in the recommendation, and I want to be able to also thank financial services staff.
Thank you.
And
not time for the speeches, questions. So thank you for answering them. Question for the solicitor. Could the solicitor tell us the limitations on, I'm at 302. Could the solicitor tell us the limitations on the application of Section 37 funds?
Madam Speaker, I'm going to suggest that the Chief Financial Officer and Treasurer answer this one. Yep.
I want to know about Section 37 funds. What can they be used for?
To the Speaker, Section 37 funds actually, in this case, there is a negotiated benefit. The negotiated benefit in the Section 37 funds that have been identified are restricted and specific to the use towards the Jack Layton Ferry Terminal redevelopment.
In general, what is the use of Section 37 funds?
In general,
I have 5 minutes.
No, you don't. 3 minutes. 5 minutes only with the mayor. No.
Thank you. So I'm going to carry on with the staff.
In general, the use would be for capital community
no, it's not
type
5
benefits.
minutes. It's 3 minutes.
So it has to be applied for capital.
The general rule is that it's applied for capital, but more specifically, it would be the negotiated benefit as part of the planning agreement.
Right, so go back to the first principles of Section 37 benefits. They were known as density benefits. They are to be applied to the community that has the density, but more so, they are for durable things that help cope with the density, as opposed to transitory things or operational things. That's the principle, is it not? And as the Section 37 negotiations and agreements are defined, they would be for those purposes. Is a fair concession for a fixed period of time consistent with the requirements of applying money for a Section 37 benefit? To the Speaker, I would say that that is not consistent. However, what is in front of us is allocating the Section 37 benefit to the capital project. Thank you. I'll speak.
Councillor Thompson.
Thank you.
I was going 3 minutes for clarification.
I understand,
Oh,
Speaker.
sorry.
No, I
It's been
understand.
a long
now.
day.
And it's
Okay.
been a long day. Thank you.
Yeah.
You've been doing a masterful job, Speaker, so thank you. Through you to, I'll start with the staff first. In the process of Section 37 negotiation, you negotiate specific terms as part of the undertaking. Would I be correct with respect to that understanding?
To the Speaker, so with Section 37, you're generally negotiating a community benefit where there is a nexus to the development, the added height and density, and associated benefit that you would negotiate for.
So these particular funds that are being allocated for this, I guess, win and celebration, at what point were these funds at $1.3 million negotiated? Because apparently the win, according to what's being described here, recently occurred. So when was the $1.3 million accrued or calculated or determined to be utilized as you determined for the Jack Layton Ferry capital?
So these benefits would have been negotiated, I don't have the exact year, but they would have been negotiated quite a while ago.
Right.
With the defined benefit being
Gotcha.
Jack Layton Ferry
Gotcha.
Terminal.
So in order to change with respect to the defined benefit, because it doesn't describe to me as part of this motion that this is a defined or described benefit. In order to change that, would you not have to go back to the source to start a new negotiation or get their permission in order to proceed in using the capital this way?
To the Speaker, the defined benefit is not being changed. The Section 37 funds are being applied against the capital project consistent with the defined benefit. The effect of that is funds are being freed up and reallocated to be able to waive ferry fees.
So what is the capital consideration with respect to resources are being used essentially to pay for passengers' fees and or fare to the ferry? What's the capital benefit there?
Again, to the Speaker, so there are a couple of things happening as a result of this motion. So the first thing that is happening is there's a recommendation to apply Section 37 funds to the defined benefit, which is the capital project, which is the redevelopment of the ferry terminal. Nearly $1.4 million is being applied to that. $1.4 million in otherwise debt/CFC funding is being removed from the capital budget. $900,000 of that CFC funding is being reallocated to the operating budget to support the waiver of the ferry fees.
Got you. To the mover of the motion, may I ask what type of communications will take place in order to promote this as a opportunity and benefits for all, let's say, Torontonians, as opposed to those in the downtown core?
Thank you very much. This motion was pulled together in conversation and in consultation with city staff. And as you will have noticed this year, we had a tremendous amount of visitors to the city and have really demonstrated the amazing communications channels that the city has through its own ferry list, through widespread communications, through social, email, and earned media as well. So there is an approach to making sure that this is shared widely, because the capability to access one of our biggest and most loved parks is a benefit to our waterfront communities and our city, in every neighborhood.
Fair enough. Just one other question through you, Speaker. So will this be expected to continue on an annual basis, and how will that actually be funded in terms of expectation? Because obviously we're setting some high expectations here, and I understand it's about celebration, but it would seems to me that every August we should have a celebration in terms of free ferry ride. Have you accounted for that?
Yeah, so one of the things that's very clearly laid out in this motion is this is a one-time, occurrence. And in the previous council meeting, I worked with some of my colleagues, including the budget chief, to put direction forward to city staff to look at how fares are collected and the use of the ferry ticketing service, so that in the report back next year on the new ferries and our approach to that, we're also reviewing access to the island through our ferry service, especially as we're getting new, faster, higher capacity ferries that will be in operation next year.
Thank you. Point of order, Councillor Holiday.
Speaker, I'm going to ask you to rule on whether or not this motion is in order, because both in the title, it says authorization to release Section 37 funds for free August ferry rides and so on. And in the questioning, I was able to demonstrate to council that there is a clear intent and a cause and effect of the application of Section 37 funds through accounting mechanisms to produce an operating short-term fare concession. And I believe that that is inconsistent with the requirements of Section 37 money. And this is a very important precedent that is being set here, and I would ask you to consider that very carefully, because the intent and the cause and effect of the motion is quite clear.
Yeah. Ask his question first. Councillor Pasternak, question. Pasternak?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Speaker. Through you to the Chief Financial Officer, I guess many of us have used Section 37 funding in the past. And, it's a question for the CFO. So many of us have used Section 37 in the past, mostly for recreation and parks. We've been told quite clearly that it cannot be used for state of good repair. The Jack Layton terminal is going through what is partially state of good repair. Are these funds really eligible for that?
To the Speaker, so there is the defined benefit of the redevelopment of the Jack Layton Ferry Terminal is an approved, an agreed upon, and an eligible use of these funds.
So if we're doing a recreational capital development in our project in our ward, Section 37 can be used for new and enhanced and state of good repair on the same facility?
So to the Speaker, there is a defined, so with Section 37 funds, under the previous Planning Act, again, there is a change now where there are community benefit charges, it is a new regime, but under the Planning Act, there was eligible uses of those funds. There was also policies that were approved by council that determined what and how you would actually go about negotiating those funds for what purposes. The agreement, or essentially the council policy, was associated with negotiating those benefits consistent with community infrastructure to be able to support the added height and density that you would see with those developments. What is in front of us is a previously negotiated Section 37 benefit for the redevelopment of the Jack Layton Ferry Terminal, which includes being able to support increased usage, increased capacity, which would be eligible and consistent with the policy.
Okay, fair enough. I'm not sure whether this question goes to the mover or to staff. But I understand with the ferry to the island, you can pre-purchase tickets. Those who have pre-purchased tickets at the regular price, can they get a refund after August 1st?
I don't know if ferry services is here.
To the chair, so the system is being updated such that all transactions starting on the 1st of August will be free. As to pre-purchase tickets, they will be valid till the end of the year, and passengers can use till the end of the year. However, for the free fares, it will be only effective on sales as of the 1st of August onwards.
Now, this, if this is adopted by council, the free fares start in just a couple of days. Have you got a program in place to let the general public know that this is available?
To the chair, yes. So we have started the process of ensuring that the payment systems are updated for the new fare structures. As well, we're working with the communications department to ensure that we are communicating the changes through social media.
And people obviously citywide and tourists are eligible.
To the chair, it is all passengers that would take the ferry services from the 1st till the 31st of August that are children, youth, or seniors.
Okay, thank you.
And now?
Yes, Speaker. So I just wanted to be clear on a couple of things. I think it's great that we're giving seniors and children the opportunity to have these free fares just for that 1 month, it seems. But in terms of the proper use of Section 37 funds, does that mean that I don't have much in terms of Section 37 up in Etobicoke North? However, consistent to what we're doing right here in front of us right now, does that mean that I can use any Section 37 funds that I currently have for potential free transit for seniors and apply it to that for a period of time? Can I do that, given that, will this be setting a precedent?
I would not consider that appropriate. However, in this instance, what we've heard is that the Section 37 money is not being used to give the discounted ferry rides. It's in fact being used for capital improvements, and Section 37 funds can be used for facilities, services, or matters in the community.
Being used for capital improvements, then who's paying for the free rides?
To the Speaker. So again, there are multiple recommendations included in this motion. One recommendation is to apply available, eligible Section 37 funds against their intended purpose, which is the ferry terminal. What that does is that frees up funding that otherwise would have been used towards the council-approved project for the ferry terminal, with roughly 1.4 million in Section 37 funds being applied against the project. What is then being recommended is the capital plan be reduced by 450,000 in debt funding and 940,000 in otherwise capital from current funding that would have gone to the project is being reallocated to be able to permit the waiver of the ferry fees.
Sounds like a very complicated accounting formula to arrive at some funds to be able to pay for some fares.
It is a series of recommended adjustments to both the capital and operating budgets.
Interesting. But we can't do it for free transit for seniors in a similar fashion and come up with some creative way.
Yeah, but where would they go on the transit? Like,
it's up to them.
At least with the ferries, they're going to an island.
Well, maybe
maybe
they want to get to the island. Sorry,
to the Speaker,
yeah.
Any unallocated and available Section 37 funds can be allocated to the capital program. In doing so, any funds that are freed up, we can have conversations in terms of what the appropriate use of those funds would be.
So the expectation, also last question, is that, so this is not sustainable. This will not repeat itself next year.
No.
This is not sustainable, which is part of the reason why Section 37 funds are not used for operating and ongoing operating expenses. This is a one-time action.
Okay, I don't think I've ever seen this type of, anyway, in the many years that I've been here. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so, what the, I'm ruling the motion in order. The recommendations are in order. Possibly, maybe the title may not be, but the recommendations in the motion is in order. The title is, okay. So the motion is in order. That's my ruling. Okay, Councillor Holiday, you want to speak? Okay, Deputy Mayor Matt, you don't need to speak, Deputy Mayor. Let Councillor Holiday speak. Councillor Holiday, Councillor Peruzza, please.
Can you start my time, please?
Yes.
Restart.
Okay, go ahead.
Speaker, look, I've raised my point with you. I have concerns about the mechanism, but I have larger concerns that I want to lay out. And if you read this motion and you read the context, which was what was said in the media, there's $1 million of taxpayer resources that are being applied as a thank you to the people that civically participated in a process to convince the federal government to change their position. The most upsetting part about it is to call it a win. And I want to make sure that I remind the council, I talked about cause and effect in the motion, about the financial. Well, there's cause and effect in what is deemed a win. And I spoke about this already to council, that if development of the Billy Bishop Toronto City Centre Airport is suppressed, and the demand for air travel and cargo and all of the associated activities with it continues to rise, then logically, this demand is going to be met by Pearson Airport. And the runways and the flight paths of Pearson Airport fly over Etobicoke Centre, they fly over Etobicoke North, they fly over Etobicoke South, they fly over parts of North York and parts of Toronto. So the apparent win of some people that is being celebrated by $1 million worth of concessions is the loss of other people in the city of Toronto, the loss of sleep, the increase in noise, the loss in property values, and all of the things that come out of it. And I'm not here to relitigate that argument. We had it. But it's very upsetting to see the characterization of this motion as a victory lap and a win and a reward to people that, you know what, got civically active in the federal government's consultation that led them to their decision. But just don't forget about the people that didn't get a win in the west end of the city.
Thank you very much. Toronto Island Park is one of our most loved parks. Torontonians demonstrated our love for our waterfront and the island and the work to protect it. We want them to be able to enjoy it even more, young people, seniors, and I am glad that we can do that in a cost-neutral way, in a way that continues to strengthen our connections to what matters most to us in this city. Thank you so much.
And recorded vote.
Councillor Turnislin, Councillor Crisanti.
Councillor Ainsley, please.
Councillor Crisanti and Councillor Turnusland, please.
Councillor Sachs, are you present in the meeting?
Affirmative. Affirmative.
The motion carries, so it is 15-5.
Our next item is MM 43-132, Section 37 money. Councillor Candeval, you want to just release it?
There's a replacement motion. Staff advised there needs to be a recipient for the mural, and we've selected Mural Roots as the nonprofit organization.
Do we have the replacement? Oh, yes. Before we do that, I forgot. Councillor Bravo, I understand that you wanted to declare a conflict on the MM 43-115, the Jay's Care Foundation.
Thank you, Speaker. This was a motion without notice, and I have submitted a written declaration to clerks. My son is a Jay's Care camp supervisor, and I left the floor for the vote.
Okay, thank you. Okay, do we have Councillor Candeval's motion? Okay, there's Councillor Candeval's motion. Okay, motion 1A and 1B. On 1A, on favor, carried. On 1B, carried. Item is amended, carried. Councillor Cheng, would you like to move your member's motion 43-135? Friendly trees? Just move it. You just have to move it. Okay. MM 43-136, Councillor Fletcher. Councillor Fletcher? Pardon? Yeah, we just said on favor. Why, did you want a recorded vote? Oh, I said all in favor. MM 43-136, Councillor Fletcher. I'll move it, I second it. On favor, carried. MM 43-137, Section 37, Councillor Pasternak. You'll move it?
Yes, I'll just move the item.
On favor, carried. MM 43-138, Councillor Cheng. It's your motion that you just introduced.
I'd like to move it.
Okay, on favor, carried. That's it? Is that it?
The mayor wants to say something.
Okay, just one sec. Mayor Chow?
I just want to take this opportunity to present two things. One is to you, Madam Chair.
Thank
Speaker.
you.
Items. 452 items, it's not even 10 o'clock yet. I have one more thing, is a bottle of scotch for Councillor Gord Perks.
John, you didn't answer anything that I said.
Eating.
Huh?
We were upstairs eating.
Where's Paula? We reduced her Thank you very much, and let's just do the bills, and then we can go upstairs, right? Pardon? Yes. Members, before I ask for a motion to enact the general bills, may I have a motion regarding the consideration of submissions on zoning bylaw official plan amendments?
No way! No way!
I thought that was good.
All my life!
I thought that was going to be the last one. Okay. All in favor? Opposed, if any, carried. No, we're going to record the last one. May I have a motion to introduce? Oh, I did. I said Councillor Thompson. Okay.
I'm waiting for a microphone. Oh, here we are. All right. Are you ready? All right, I'm ready. The committee and council considered submissions in making a decision on zoning bylaw and official plan amendments.
All in favor? Opposed, if any? No, we're doing the last one I recorded. May I have a motion? May I have a motion to introduce the general bills? Councillor Holliday, do you want to move that one?
Certainly. That leave be granted to introduce bills 980 to 1211 and 1214 to 1270.
Shall leave be granted to introduce these bills? All in favor? Opposed, if any, carry. At the last one. No, the last one. Shall. Okay, recorded vote. He has to be over there if he does a recorded vote. Councillor Peruzza, you see? We wanted to do it at the end. Well, you should listen to me. Well, Councillor Peruzza asked for a recorded vote. Recorded vote.
Councillor Peruzza, could you please enter your vote? Councillor Peruzza, are you voting on the item? Perhaps you can enter your vote verbally. The vote carries, 22 in favor and none opposed.
Yeah. Shall. Okay. May I have a motion to introduce some confirmatory bills? Mayor Chow, do you want to move that one?
Sure.
We get a recorded vote on that too.
We're going to do it at the end, please, Councillor Peruzza. Yeah, we're doing the confirmative bill. Okay, good, John. Okay.
I'm not in my chair.
Shall these bills be declared as bylaws and be passed subject to section 226.9 of the City of Toronto Act? All in favor? Opposed, if any, carried. May I have a motion to introduce the confirmatory bills? Mayor Chow?
Yes, that leave be granted to introduce bills to confirm to the point of the introduction of this motion the proceedings of City Council meeting 43. on July 29th and 30th, 2026.
Shall leave be granted to introduce these bills? On favor, opposed, if any, carried? No, will you be quiet? Hold on. Hold on, there's one more vote. Shall these bills be declared as bylaws and passed and be passed subject to section 226.9 of the City of Toronto Act 2006? Recorded vote. That's the last vote.
Councillor Perruzza, may we have your vote? Councillor Thompson, may we have your vote? Councillor Perruzza, we still don't have your vote. Speaker, by a vote of 22 in favor and none opposed, the motion passes.
Okay. Great. Now,
I'm never leaving.
I want to thank our staff here, the clerk staff. Amazing job. Their work. And I also want to thank all the staff here, and thanks to all members of council. Thank you, Mayor Chow, for the flowers, and let's celebrate, right? Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.